Hey guys, I'm doing a how-to on the pre-game setup for Infinity the Game Tabletop Simulator. The previous video I did was kind of an overarching how to play, but now I'm taking a deep dive into what you should do if you want to get a higher variety of tables, if you want to go use those cool 3D minis, if you want to save an entire army before you come into a game so you're just prepared if you have a scheduled game, make it they'll start up that much faster. If you want to set up a table with objectives beforehand, if you want to save a table to email out to your buddies to use, we're going to hit all that stuff. But yeah, let's just start with the tables. The easiest thing to do is to go out and find some tables that someone's already done and saved in a mod. So let's just do that right now. Inside of Steam, you go to the Tabletop Simulator page, you go to the Workshop page, and then you can search for your map pack mod that you've found. I happen to know Why Rock No Die has one with his name on it. Why Rock No Die is the guy who has taken up the reins for the Tabletop Simulator. He's the one who gave it kind of a revamp with these counters and the dice roller, and it's all new. And he's been kind of leading the changes, keeping up with the N4 changes. You can see all the tokens are updated to the N4 versions, which has changed since I made my how-to video. But anyways, back to maps. He's got a mod called Infinity the Game Why Rock No Die's Maps. And if you subscribe to it, which I already have done, which is why I got a blue check marks here, you can then use his maps for yourself. Yeah, so click on that, get your blue check box, come back into this game. There's two different ways to bring his maps from his mod into your game. I'm going to do it kind of the cumbersome way first because it's going to show a couple of things that I want to show for our other topics like saving armies. And then I'll show kind of the shortcut, faster way. So I clicked up on games here. I brought up this menu, Workshop, Why Rock No Die's the fourth one on mine. I believe it's ordered based on which one was last updated. If not, I might be wrong on that. But anyways, his is right here. If it's not in your first 5 here, you might have to click on Workshop and find it. But I have very few mods here, so click on Why Rock No Die. I'm going to click Load. It's going to get us out of this table. So this is, again, something you should be doing before you're playing for table setup and whatnot. And you can see he's got a bunch of maps here. He's got them organized into combined army, civic areas, etc., etc. And you can see that these are all bags. These are the same kind of bags you throw on the staging area. It'll throw them up onto the table. Let me just grab one here. Let's say we want this train terminal bag. For whatever reason, we like it. So we're going to save it. So right click, save object. The default will be this root folder, and I will talk about the structure of the folders later, but if you've just started, you will only have this root folder. So yeah, right click, save object. I'm going to save it with the same name. You don't have to, but it makes it easier later. I'm going to click save. It's now in there. If I go to objects, saved objects, it is this train terminal one here. You can see I have a few other things, but it's right there. So I'm going to start up a game of Infinity now. that I'm going to use that map on. And once it's loaded, I can go over to the staging area over here and just drop that bag on it. Again, objects, saved objects. This is the root folder. You can see I have a couple of other folders here. You could just pull it out here, and it's right here. And just stage it. And it's thinking because it's unpacking all of that and throwing it up here. And we have a map. And I believe this is the map. I just watched a video with Bromat Academy. Wise Kenzai did a write-up on this. Just going to bring up the grid real quick. Yep, so this is our map that we just pulled from Why Rock No Dies mod. It's good to go. A way we could have done that slightly faster instead of saving the object if we don't want to save a bunch of them. You can go to games. You can go to these little dots above when you're hovering over it. Options, go to expand, and this is going to go into the mod and look at all the objects that are in the mod and present them to you. A lot of this is stuff we don't care about when we're trying to grab a map, right? So what I do is I just go to search and I type set, because every map bag has to start with set, or else it won't stage properly. Let me just grab platforms here. Now I just pulled it directly from his mod into the game I'm in, and I don't have to do that middle step of saving the object. So if I grab this and again stage it, it will take this one off. It will unpack this, and this is one I've played on before for one of VaulSC tournaments. So yeah, so go directly into the mod, grab the bag. That's why his mod was so sparse, right? It had the table, it had the bags, it had very little else in it, so you can just pull it in and use his maps. So thanks for that. Now, if you have a map up and you need to add some objectives, right? Some of the maps will have objectives, some of them won't. It really depends on whomever made it and how they saved it. But if you want to add objectives to it, the map kind of default creation stuff's over here. So battle mats, buildings, scatter terrain, and then this one has objects, which is what I'm concerned about right this second. You can pull out Panoply, console. If you want the microart stuff, there's some different bags up here that have even more stuff in it. These look like 3D scanned versions of their stuff, and they do have this weird thing where they're following through right now. I don't know if that'll be fixed or if you're just gonna have to deal with that. They come back, it's not a big deal. And if you like the looks of these, or if you want to like recreate a table you have in real life, you can do that. But yeah, alternatively, I like to use a saved object that I stole from one of VaulSC's maps. And he's got this little cylinder with a light on it. And it just makes it really easy to see if you just pick up this one and drop it like here. Now you can kind of see it's got some light going on. In any case, to drop things directly in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this isn't a great example. But the exact middle's right here. Oh, and you know what? This might have been a mission that had consoles. Yeah. So this particular map has objectives built into it, right? So these little consoles here are for this mission. But if you needed something right on this square specifically, you can kind of manually drop it, and that's good enough for most of the stuff I do. If you want to be super exact about it, you go back into grid, put snapping to lines on, and it'll put it directly on the intersection. The other grid options while we're talking about it, center is just the exact center of a square, so if you drop it, it'll go into center of the square, and then both is the intersections of lines and the center of squares. And you can kind of see where those are with the little ghost image of where it would drop. Yeah, so let's say you have some weird mission where you have a bunch of objectives all on one side for no reason. Okay, you have decided that this is your map that you've either made, which I'm not going to get into very much. I don't make my own maps. It is very difficult and not where my strengths lie. So thanks again for everyone who makes maps for me to just grab and use. They're great. But let's say you've got your objectives where you want them, and you want to send this out to people. You're running a tabletop simulator tournament for whatever reason, or for whatever reason you just want to share this with people. You can make your own mod and have people get to it that way, or you can go into the file directory and pull the saved objects, which is what I'm gonna show you right now. So let me just lock these real quick. Lock. I don't think they have to be locked, but anyways. So we're gonna pack this back up. It's going to take stuff off of here, save it into a bag here, and this bag doesn't save the name, right? It just says set underscore. So I'm going to right click and call it set underscore pseudo mission map to represent a specific mission. So now I can do what we did before where I right click and save this object. It's going in the root folder. Click save. So now how do I get to those files to email them? You can go into your directory. So the default directory is what I'm using. And I don't know what it is for Macs. Sorry guys, this is something you could look up. If you just look up Tabletop Simulator saved objects default folder, and I can look that up and throw it in the comments below for Macs. But for Windows, it's just in C, users, your username, and sudo, documents, my games, tabletop simulators, saves, saved objects. So a little bit of a journey there. But this is where all my saved objects are. You could see this train terminals here. And right here is my pseudo mission map, right? So I could take these files, I can zip them up, I can email them. That's great. Also, while you're in here, you can add structure, right? I have quite a few maps that I've grabbed. Something I want to make sure to point out. Every saved object is actually two files. It's the JSON, which is just a bunch of texts, and then the PNG, which is a picture. Like if I just double click on this, you could see that it's just the bag. So each object is both of those. Make sure you have both of those. Yes. So we're in our file here. I have a bunch of maps. I know this is a garbage file. So if I right click here, go to new, create a folder, boop, 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 call it new maps, whatever you want to call it. And let's throw in the train terminal that I grabbed. And so that should now, and let's grab this pseudo mission map. Boop. So those are both in my new maps. You can see if I go into saved objects again, I now have this new maps folder. It has these that I could drag out and do whatever with. If I want to save this again as, whoops, save version 2, and instead of the root folder, I can click this and it'll go through all of the subfolders of that root folder, and you can see I have a bunch of them. Let's just say we wanted to save it in new maps. I can do that and save it directly into there for later. I'm not going to do that because I don't need another copy of this map. There we go. But you can see that all I've done was put files into this folder, and it has come through as an object in Tabletop Simulator. Now you have to make sure your map objects have the correct name, and you could see earlier when I packed it up, it just said set underscore and then nothing. That set underscore is important for maps. If you don't have it, it won't load it won't recognize it as a map. So if I just take the set underscore off and I put this here, I've got the snap to grid still on. Let me turn that off. Boop, boop, boop. If I put it here, nothing happens. On the other hand, if I rename it back, set I believe has to be in all caps, and then underscore, it is going to take this mission map and load everything, and you can see it has my nonsense objective markers here, so I can make all my friends deal with that later. Same principle applies if you're building a map. You can click this trash, we'll just take everything off. And if you're getting assets from other mods, which will work the same way, or if you're just using these default ones and just creating, I'm just pulling out random stuff right now. Probably start with a battle mat, right? Boop, boop, boop. Whoops, I keep accidentally doing that. Boop. Okay. You know, put your battle mat centered and, you know, just make your map. When you're done making your map, pack it up, save it, email it to your friends, put it in your mod, what have you. So that's all I really wanted to say about tables. The last little bit here is if you are doing a tournament, if you're playing a scheduled game of any kind and you want to have your army ready beforehand, what you can do is pull out whatever, and I'm just going to do this kind of random garbage here. Not that any of these units are garbage, I'm just random stuff. So I got these 5 units. Let's say this is my army. I have some weird restriction on list building or whatever. If I want to save these for later, what I can do is go to Objects, Components, Tools, Bag, and I can take these guys, select them all, and hover over this and put them in the bag. And then I can just name this as pseudo army 5 units, right? Because it had 5 units in it or whatever. And you can name that whatever you want based on mission, what have you. Now I can take this bag and save this bag. And I'm going to do it in the root folder here. Sudo army 5 units. Save it. Now when I go to my scheduled game, let me just go delete some of this garbage. Reload Infinity the game. I'm in a brand new game. I don't have to go searching for those specific units. I can just get them from my saved objects. Sudo army 5 units over here. And now that I have this, I just pull them all out, probably in the little hidden zone so your opponent doesn't see. And I've got those 5 units without having to dig through the boxes over there. Also, if you want to use the 3D minis that VaulSC has been working on, this is another mod. But VaulSC has gathered people together and got them to scan their painted miniatures and to have fully 3-dimensional models to work with instead of these like little cardboard cutouts that have no thickness, right? He has, let me just load up his mod. A bunch of people have added to this. They have beautifully painted miniatures that I can never hope to be as good as. But you can see they're kind of organized here by submitter, right? You got Zulu stuff over here. Hexa VaulSC has a few. He's got O12 here. He's got Pano here. So it looks like they're organized by... Yeah, they don't seem organized terribly well. But in any case, you can look through here at various bags and see what they got. Looks like this Hexa bag only has a Libertos in it. Full Spiral Core army in a bag, so this will have a lot of units. I just grab that out here. Nima's always good times. Nima with the Spitfire specifically. And you can see they have, if you rotate around them, they don't have, or if you just rotate them themselves, it's probably the easier way to do it. They don't have a direction in which they look funky, right? They are 3-dimensional. They are painted nice. All the ones I've seen are painted great. Yeah, they have line of fire. They have different silhouettes. The only reason I don't use these is I have found the data to be off sometimes. I've found units with missing skills that I've had to then go look up. The 2D ones that are on the default mod are updated. They're checked regularly. I've had issues loading some of these. But don't let that stop you. These are great. They make the table look better. And they'll do everything that the other ones won't. They have a little bit of a curiosity where they don't have colliders, so if you flip them over, they just flip over, but that doesn't matter at all. I just find that funny. Yeah, so again, you would do with these, you can make a bag, save a bag, pull that out later. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have any questions on that. If you want to know how you can get involved and get your own painted midis in there, VaulSC, I think he's got a couple videos on his project here. But yeah, you could look into that. Yeah, but that's everything I wanted to say on importing and exporting objects. Let me know for pregame setup. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and in the description I will throw a little bit more information like default paths and such. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.